Okay, that's some good working height there on the air hoist bike lift. It's a little on the dark side in here. Maybe I can throw a little light on and maybe that makes a difference. Try that out. A little bit of difference, not much. So we got to get some tools together. Take this fender off, take this light off of the fender. The brake covers will remain with the bike. We'll just take them off, clean them up. But this here whole fender is coming off. I'm going to slide the new one on. Well, before I go ahead and get myself all dirty and taking that fender off, we need to put some of these fancy trim pieces onto the fender. I already went ahead and I did one side already just to educate myself in how to do it. These are perfectly straight, as you can see. They just go on way over there. They don't really follow. I got to follow the curvature of where they're attached between the skirt and the main fender. So to do that, what I found on the other side is these are actually fairly, well, not fairly, but they are pliable. You know, I can get them sort of conformed to the curvature of the fender. When we get this thing kind of manipulated into the curve of the fender, they're only glued on, so you have to have a very clean surface, and that's why I just took the packaging bag off. I don't think the fender is going to get any cleaner. No fingerprints on the gluing areas, and no fingerprints on the gluing areas, and it's about as clean as a person can expect. So we'll just work this in around the curvatures and see what we get. Do a trial run. Kind of looks like a Roman contour of a Roman helmet. See, I think we can kind of work with that, get it laid into place, work it around. So let's get started. Now look at that, I got a little smudge on there. Okay, to start with, there's a red backing tape here. And I'm not going to pull it right off. I'm just going to pull it back 3, 4, 5 inches. Like so. And I'm going to leave quite a bit of overhang here. And we're just going to get it started. And as we go, we'll just manipulate it around the curves. Okay, I think it's on there real nice. And then there is a protective film on the shiny part. Pull that off. And there you go. Look at that, glistening in the sun. I think I got that glued on there as good as one can expect. I'm just going to leave it hang out there for a little bit. And then these ends, I don't know how I'm going to cut them. I'm going to guess I can use a very sharp knife and cut them off. Okay, I just happen to have one of these here internet fancy, never go dull knives, whatever. Pretty fancy. Bought them a year ago and they're really sharp. Mainly because I haven't used that one. But it's sharp and trimmed off those tails quite nicely, both sides. So there we go. Now we're got to work at the beak. We'll unpackage that and see what we got to do there to get that beak on there. Okay, I got that beak in the right position. I don't know if it just with reflections and stuff, but I think it's in pretty much aligned perfectly. But that adhesive on that those body parts that they send out now, as long as your surface is clean and new and clean, that stuff ain't coming off. You can't make a mistake because it ain't coming off. Luckily, I made it work. Now that we got all that gluing done, we can go ahead and we're going to take the caliper covers off. Now on this bike here, even though it's made in the US of A, it is got metric fasteners. Just the way it is. I prefer metric anyway. A lot easier to get your sizes fished out of the toolbox, especially when they're not organized like mine. Okay, so we got basically 3 different tools that we're going to need to get the fenders off. And it's a 10 millimeter and a 13 millimeter and a number 6 Allen wrench or hex wrench. First off, there is a nut in behind here. I've got to turn it the right way, Milton. There we go. Finally, that's off. Then a number 13 mil wrench to take off these 2 acorn nuts. So that caliper cover is off. I've already gone ahead and done the other side. So let's go to this other side and I'll take these. There's only 3 on each side bolts to hold the fender on. fasteners off now. When we lift it up, I don't know how the electrical, there's one of these lines is electrical line, just to plug in the old Indian head. So hopefully that's going to come off of there. Oh, there's a darn zip tie there, so I'm going to have to go get some side cutters. We'll cut those lines free. There, hopefully that'll free it up so it comes out of there. Oh, quite a bit better, yeah. Inside the fender is all these little plastic retainers, and clips the electrical line for this light. And I see right here, this is going to have to be addressed. I don't know how we're going to, well, I got to cut the line somewhere anyway, just to get the, I'm going to have to cut that line anyway. It's frayed, so we'll just might as well cut it and repair it, just to get these two nuts off and get that headlight or that Indian bonnet right out of there. All right, so we'll get that cut off and the nuts and everything, and we'll bring you right back. Before we get this thing too far ahead of us, before I take it off the safety of the tailgate, just going to put this little bit of tape on there just to protect the edges of this skirt going between the brake calipers on the bike when we get to that stage. So we'll get that protected right away. Hopefully this tape will come off easily. Should. There, that's done. Inside I got these electrical zip ties snap back onto the bolts on the new fender. I'll just use regular zip ties and tie that to there, and I got to repair this line. So let's get this thing moved in to the bike again and do some electrical repair. Try to get this on without scratching it. They sent quite a bit of packaging in with Fender, so we'll lay that down there because I got to lay it down, work this wiring. Hopefully it'll all turn out good. Okay, well, I should be able to get the wiring repaired. So let's get started at that. To start off with, what I'm going to do is I already push back a larger shrink tape or a sleeve over top of the original loom, because even in just 30,000 kilometers, the sand, air, debris, whatever, going by this loom with the rotation of the tire has eroded or ripped apart the original loom and broke apart the ground line, the black line. The red one was still intact, but so I'm starting out with that over top of the original loom. Then I've got an appropriate colored shrink sleeve over top of the red wire and one over top of the black wire. Now I'm going to strip the two ends, and I'll do that to the other end that comes off the tail light inside here. I already got the oversized shrink tube over top of the original loom there, and then we will just address those wires there, the red and the black wire, and we'll get those attached somehow. The way I do it, right or wrong, is I just strip back the wiring and I just twist them together lengthwise. No solder, because I believe that the solder just makes a little bit of a weight in there at the end of the solder, and it'll end up vibrating and breaking off those fine wires. So I just twist them together and then I'll roll this here black shrink tube over top of the gap there, shrink it up, do the same for the red, and then I'll push that loom forward on either end, and I don't need I guess the extra over there as well as there, but it certainly doesn't help or hurt to have that extra loom up in the high where the area of the between the tire and the fender, in that area where it takes a high amount of sand and debris going by there at a high velocity, and just sandblast that loom again. So I want to give it a little bit better chance. There's both the red and the black wires reconnected, just twisted together with shrink tubing over top just to hold them together. I did a little experiment with them there a long time ago, and you can solder them together. You can do this, and it takes a lot of force to pull those twisted wires apart with that shrink tubing over top. So I'm good with it, and because it's shrunk on there, it's going to be a good thing to hold out. Here I put in place the one piece of that shrink wrap and heated it up, shrunk it over. Now I'll just work that other one there just forward and shrink it on. Well, after all that, I don't have it tightened down yet, but I didn't kick the camera in to show putting the fender back on. I managed to get it on there without scratching it, but got the all these mounting hardware bolts started in there, and I just got to tighten them up, get the clean up the caliper covers, bolt her down, and like tighten everything up, and then put a zip tie right in this area hold these three cables together, and we'll be done. I wish I had a black one, but I don't. I got a green one, so maybe someday when I get some black ones, I'll change that out. It's hardly noticeable anyway. So, okay, now we'll just clean up our other cover. This bag that the Fender come in is a really nice polishing material. Keep shaking it enough, it'll go into place. Finally. Give it a little bit of a wipe. The only clean thing on the bike is the fender. Okay, that was a little bit of a wrestling match, but I'm happy that I got that new fender in place there. This was a little tricky getting this here molding on and that in the right place, the nose. But she's looking pretty good. I managed to get it on there without being scratched. Win. And there we have it. I got the Indian rolled off of that lift and back out into the main yard, just shining in the sunlight. Looks pretty good. I'm totally amazed that the Fender came out with the right paint coat on it. Totally matches the bike. Everything's good, except it's too shiny for the bike. I need to get maybe an old lady or a little mama or something out here to come out and maybe polish up the rest of the bike, but that's another story. yeah, I'd like to thank you all for watching and tagging along and helping to support this channel. I just get a kick out of doing all these things, and this is gonna be a thing that's gonna become more of a regular thing on my channel, is the motorcycle world, which I left behind 15-20 years ago. But we're going to bring back a lot of different motorcycling things, and you know, interestingly enough, it's going to be shovels and iron heads. But anyway, that's all we got for today. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.